Chicken, Peter, you're just a little chicken.
Are you calling chicken? Are you calling chicken? Are you calling chicken? Are you calling chicken?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Netflops podcast. This is the podcast where we look at movies on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb that do not have good ratings. This week, we watched The Ice Road, which is a 2021 Liam Neeson film on Netflix. By we, I mean me, co-host Andy Doherty, and my co-host Adam Janketic. Adam, how you doing, man?
Good. You sound a little tired today.
I sound tired?
Yeah, for sure. You sound beaten.
Oh,
You've been
all right.
You've been defeated by something recently.
I've honestly just been watching football for the past 3 hours straight on Red Zone, so it's just flashing between games, and honestly, it just makes me feel a little dirty, you know, when you watch that much men throwing balls around. Let's get into The Ice Road.
I'm just not even gonna comment on that. Yeah, let's jump in.
This movie just came out. Was very surprised that it wasn't as boring as it was.
Yeah, we've been discussing this. Like, it was not at all what we thought it would be.
Which, I mean, is a good thing, because I feel like this movie was at least watchable.
Yeah.
And not like some of the other movies where we're like skip, you know, I like fighting the urge to click next on the time warp, you know.
Yeah, I think there's only been like 2 movies where I'm like, oh, do we have to? Like, do we have?
I feel like it's been more than 2 movies, bro. All right, so sorry.
I know. We're at like what, 16 now, 18?
We are at, I should know. We are at 13.
13. Oh, so less than I originally thought.
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing is that we're planning everything out. So all of our episodes, they're going to feel like, you know, they're going to fly by. Like everything's kind of set in stone with us trying to do like a Hallmark December and stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm like,
you know,
ahead of myself.
Right. Because you're like, oh, we're going to be in January by the time that all that's done.
Yeah.
But let's get into The Ice Road. So 2021 movie starts off with a bunch of truckers calling a mentally handicapped person the N-word, or the R-word, the N-word.
Yeah, and he just has a speech impediment. There's like nothing else that's given until we get to like, you know, like the next 2 scenes or whatever where they go to the hospital.
Yeah, and it's like his cognitive ability to speak.
Yeah, and that's it.
And okay, so I should preface, that's Liam Neeson's brother. So his brother is like this whiz mechanic. I should have said, you know, we got to get into the synopsis for this movie. So his brother, who's a mechanic who has this cognitive ability where he can't, you can't understand what he's saying. Only like Liam Neeson partially translates what he's saying for parts of this movie. And Liam Neeson is the truck driver, and they are going to go on this risky run to deliver supplies to a caved-in mine.
Well, supplies, it's like this one specific pipe that they don't currently have at the mine.
Yes. And that's what they need to blast the miners out of the caved in mine. Yeah.
I looked into it more trying to research because this is a new movie, and I got nothing of like what it was or what purpose it really was. All I knew was it was a long elongated pipe that fit in a truck.
Yeah. And it was like, I guess they were like, we're going to blast you out of there. They made a lot of allusions to saying blast. So I'm assuming it's going to blast the rocks out of the way. Because they were saying, like, they were pointing at the walls at one point when they're inside the cave, and we're seeing it from all the miners' perspectives. They're all like the one guy says, all right, so like 8 miles that way worth of rock, and the other way is like 13 miles worth of rock. So I guess the plan was to blast them out of there by using that machine.
Keep seeing blast. I think not that I know anything about like caved in or miners, like it would be a compression blast, right? To not spark the methane gas.
No fucking idea.
Right. I'm trying to like wrap my head around it and like make sense of it.
Yeah, well, that's a big thing in this movie is that nothing on the technical side of stuff is explained to us. So when
Yeah.
shit happens, like it's called the ice road for a reason. They're driving these big giant trucks on the ice road. If you watch the trailer at all for this movie, you're gonna know that they're gonna have a problem in which they fall through the ice. It's a Liam Neeson movie. They try to add some extra action in there. But like if it was explained to us, oh yeah, the ice melts at a certain temperature, or this is what we're delivering and this is what it does, we would have been in such better standing of the risks of this movie.
But there's such like a contradiction in like the real facts. Like so we get some underwater shots of like the trucks going over because it's in Canada. I don't know what like lake it is or whatever. Um, but it looks so thin and like the pressure waves, you see the ice like literally molding up and down and waving. But then at one point they have to drill into the ice and they drill down. It's a good like 5 feet. And I'm like, what? Like,
Yeah. That scene was to get when the truck like gets stuck in the ice at the end,
and they have to like mount
towards
themselves
the end.
to pull them
Yeah.
up. Yeah, and I'm like, wait, it's that deep, and they're like, so you know what I mean? Like, it's weird.
Meanwhile, when they're in the trailer, Liam Neeson looks at Gertie, who's his mentally handicapped brother, and Liam Neeson looks at him and goes, "Gertie, how much does this weigh?" And Gertie's like finger motioning how many pounds it is. He says 340 pounds. So they lifted two 340-pound posts and then dug them into the water.
I I'll take your word for that. I don't remember that.
When after they get stuck in with the dynamite,
Yeah, you know,
to
I'm
get
saying
to get out of that trailer.
I don't remember Gertie giving me like 300 pounds.
Oh, he like starts motioning with his fingers.
Yeah.
And Neeson's like 340, and he's like, yeah. He's like, got like he was like, gotcha, fucking charade style, pointing at him like you got it.
Also, I did love their connection as brothers. Like they do some like nice, like I felt like they were brothers at times. Like they like high fived a lot and like fist bumped. They're like, oh yeah, we got through this together. Oh Gertie, you do this, I do that. Like, and they like are like, hand in hand going at their problems. I like the
Well,
dynamic.
this might be a little. Their dynamic was great. I think that him and Liam Neeson must have had like a personal connection before they started taping this movie,
Yeah.
because like they were like they had some good scenes between each other. I will say that at one point Liam Neeson says "kiss my Irish ass" when he was frustrated.
Yes.
And there's also reference that Gertie got his mental handicap from fighting in the Iraq War.
Yeah.
And Liam Neeson says, "You're going to treat an American hero like this?" So I'm confused of how they're brothers.
Yeah.
He says, "Kiss my Irish ass," and the other one is clearly American. Liam Neeson has a pretty obvious Irish voice, Irish accent.
I'm trying to recall other stuff to argue the other side, and I just you're right. Like,
it's never explained again. Like Liam Neeson was like so far in I wonder if they gave him like edits to the script so that he could just say whatever the fuck he wanted to say at certain times, because that's the way it felt.
yeah, because this whole movie just felt like it was just like a Liam Neeson, like, yeah, do whatever you want. Like he's in every fight scene, he's in every action scene, he's doing everything.
He's never close to death like every other character is in this movie.
Yeah, he actually at one point like risks his life to save his brother.
When oh, I thought you were gonna say when he got on the back of the cab. Oh yeah, that's right. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like there was no danger there, right? Because like the music stops when he dives in the water to go get his brother when he falls through the ice. There's no like music or anything, and he just pops back up with him.
Yeah, it wasn't like that, like built of suspense. Also, it was during that scene, I was so certain that his brother Gurney was like, I like, because I'm trying to get my words right. I was so certain that Gurney was like safe on the side, and like he would just like look over, and he's like, oh yeah, I made it like just fine, because they were wrenching something Do you remember? Were they like rehooking the trailer or like hitching it up?
Um,
I don't remember what they were doing.
that was that same scene where the truck gets stuck. It like falls
Yes.
down a layer of ice, so the wheels are stuck.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're trying
Yeah.
to winch it back out
Gotcha.
with the trailer as the counterweight.
Yes. And then the wrench they got off and it just flew off. And I thought like, oh, Grundy's gonna be like sitting in the passenger seat while Liam Neeson's like, oh god, like I can't believe I did this to my brother. How could I like trust him to? And he was just gonna get in the car and sit. But like I was, because it wasn't shown that he like got hit by it or like stumbled backwards. Right? It
Yeah.
looked like he avoided it.
I thought he avoided it too. I thought he was gonna walk off from like the side of the thing because he was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Liam Neeson's like, Gertie, no. And then like I thought he was gonna walk up and be like, say something illogical because he has cognitive difficulties of being like, there's snow in Washington today, like some shit like that.
But yeah, he pulled up. I thought he was gonna pull up empty-handed and be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe this," and like kick the ground. Like, how did I let this happen? But he pulled up his brother, and I was like, "Oh, he actually fell." I like to step back. I was like, when was that? But that's just the overall arching theme of the movie is just like things just happen.
Yeah, and everybody almost dies, and then you're surprised when people actually die.
Yeah,
I feel like that's a trope that like because every single character was in danger of dying in this movie.
which was very plainly written. Like Morpheus, Lawrence Fishburne, which I'm going to refer to as Morpheus the rest of the recording. Because I like literally the first time I saw him, he was like under whatever, like the oil change well. I don't know what it's called, and I was like, is that Morpheus? Like, what's he doing in this movie? But anyway, like his spoiler death scene was so bizarre.
Yeah, so let's get into like what the fuck they're doing on this ice road.
Yeah, you want to recap like the miner stuff and
yeah. So the miners, there's these miners who are getting like paid extra money, which we find out later, to purposefully not keep their sensors on for methane gas because this drilling company was drilling for diamonds.
Again, maybe you paid more attention. Maybe I missed something. Could be right. I don't know what they're mining for.
I'm pretty sure they were like mining for diamonds. Like, I don't think they were mining for oil, right?
I'm gonna throw some logic in here, which might not make sense to the movie, but whatever. But in Alaska, they do not mine for diamonds. That is not where diamonds are.
That's a good point.
Gold and oil is all I can think of.
Right, I'm thinking it's oil, but there was no.
Yeah, they didn't have pipes there. It was
Maybe there's no infrastructure.
Coal miners.
Maybe coal miners. I don't think it's actually revealed. I'm looking at the wiki now, and I don't see that. It doesn't say anything. So it was just an obligatory business that was mining.
Yeah, mining. Okay. Oh, I did. So I wrote in my notes, meaning you talking prior to Google. Some guy was like, "Oh, why don't you get me fucking canary then?" And I Googled it, and it's a real thing. I don't know if it's like homage to like what had happened, but during like the industrial era, like they would bring canaries into mines and they would like sense quotes the methane gas in the air, and they would like chirp and go crazy and like be like very in discomfort. I don't know if it's birds have higher sensory to it or they're more susceptible to it, but miners would literally leave the mines if the bird was going crazy.
Yeah, a lot of lines in this movie, like I feel like they had like one or two guys that were previously miners or truck drivers because they use some lingo and you're like, okay, so we're just going to get no explanation for that.
Yeah, there was a good like 5-6 trucker terms where I was like, oh, I can kind of infer what that means. But like, yeah, even the miners were using that.
Yeah. And like there was that whole thing where Lawrence Fishburne says, what was it? Bull whatever when he was trying to say bull run, we're doing a bull run, and I was like because I feel like that's like kind of like a common term, and Liam Neeson just gets on the mic when they're like 20 minutes onto the ice road and he just goes, what does that mean?
When I heard it, I immediately was I was thinking like the bull run in Spain, right?
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
I was
too.
like, they're just gonna go no brakes, you know what I mean? That's what I was like, oh okay, yeah, I can understand that. But yeah, like you said or about to say, it was like that was the the explanation anyway was like, oh, like if during the bull run, if you fall, you get trampled, so keep going.
Yeah, or a bull can't. If when a bunch of bulls are together in a transport, if one of them, you can never stop because if you stop and one of the bulls lies down, he will get trampled to death.
Yeah.
So that's why they called it Bull Run, which I don't think is a good explanation, but
No.
it's the one of the explanations that we actually get in this movie, so I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
um,
I'm tempted to actually Google it, but not worth my time or like
it's
mental
really not. I mean,
capacity
it was
to.
it was an insignificant
Yeah.
line from a person who dies in the next scene. So,
Yeah. Well,
uh,
I don't know if it's like a money thing, but he loved his character. Like he was like the hard guy who had a soft spot for the fucking troublemaker Tantu who gets introduced around the same
oh yeah, we
time.
need to get into the characters of this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I have like 10 things of notes already, and we've talked like way past it.
I know we've talked like 20 minutes already. So Lawrence Fishburne, as we keep on making references to him, he is he's in need of drivers to go make this rescue run to Winnipeg. And he's and like Liam Neeson is like, oh, we can get our own rig, Gertie, blah blah blah, and Gertie's like, yeah, like just along for the ride. He doesn't give two shits what's happening as long as he could, as long as he's with his brother, I guess.
Well, no,
And
Gertie's a well qualified mechanic.
yeah, but they keep getting fired because of him.
Well, they keep getting fired because it's like the trucker community keeps like ripping on a war vet.
Yeah, and then Liam Neeson stands up for him.
Yeah.
I don't know, because there's at the point where Liam Neeson snaps later in the movie and hits him because they won't pull the wench further in that scene where they're trying to get the truck up. He goes and says, it's not your he's like, it's not your mental handicap, it's your attitude.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's kind of like, whatever, I'm just going to do whatever I want at this point in life because I'm pretty messed up, type of thing. But again, kind of pulling straws there because we really only hear lines from Liam Neeson.
Yep. And it's not like the lines that his brother are like totally like unintelligible. Like it's like broken sentences that he's trying to form, and it's like, oh yeah, I get it. And then Liam Neeson's like, he's saying exactly this. Like,
Yeah, it was like he's talking to the doctor because, like, I guess there's a point where Liam Neeson gets fired in the beginning of this movie for sticking up for his brother, and he takes it. He's like, all right, that's it. I'm just gonna drop him at like a mental ward. And he goes up and he's like talking to the doctor and everything, and he says something like he's like, my words, I'm trying to think of what he said, but it was something along the lines of like, my words are backwards or something like that.
Yeah.
Liam Neeson's like, he's saying he doesn't talk well. It's like, we got it, Liam.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's pin perfect of what I was trying to do. And that's like the entire movie is Liam Neeson explaining just like that, where it's like, we kind of get it. Like, you don't have to.
I feel like Gertie stops talking after that. Like we never see another scene in which he's translating for him.
Well, I'm guessing like their relationship is Liam Neeson just kind of like does what he wants and Gertie's along for the ride.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I was saying before.
Sorry, just going over my notes here. Yeah, I think we covered all that.
So,
I have some nice stuff. So right after that note of the whole hospital thing, they said Icerid 20 times already.
Well, that hospital scene is so insane because like Liam Neeson comes back like 2.5 hours later and he's like, yeah, I was supposed to pick up my brother after like an hour and that was 2.5 hours ago. And he goes, is he ready to go? And they're like, nah, we're still like diagnosing him. And he's like, diagnosing him for what? And he bursts in the door and he sees that there's like Xanax and like just super like relaxing pills that they've given his brother. And he's like, come on, we're getting out of here. And the doctor's like, whoa, he's got PTSD, he needs those pills.
Which he makes a statement where he's like, oh, you're just gonna throw opiates into another at another vet. Like, come on, you can't do this. Like, and I was like, oh, is this like a real life? Like, are they like making a statement here? Like,
I guess he was just overprotective. I'm not really quite sure what that scene was supposed to establish.
I think it was supposed to be like their bond as siblings is like strong.
Yeah, okay, then I'm fine with that. I mean, I'm just like confused of why he was like, fuck it, I gotta drop I gotta drop him, and then he's like, all right, let's go to Winnipeg, like, from scene to scene.
Yeah, I'm thinking like 3 times where like, probably more, but or like Liam Neeson and his brother were always just hand in hand doing everything together. So then
Yeah,
when he dropped him off, I felt weird, and then when he picked him up, I was like, oh, okay, that makes more sense.
yeah, that was just. I don't know. I didn't know what to make of it. I mean, I guess it was just. I guess you're right. I guess it's just to show the bond between the two of them. Um, and then they do everything else side by side. Yeah. So, moving on to that. So then it's cutting around scenes. So we see that this drilling company isn't supposed to be drilling that low, or they hit a pocket of what, methane gas, and the mine explodes. People are covered in rubble, and they realize that all these miners realize that they're closed in. Now, it cuts back and forth from those mining scenes so many times. We barely get to know who the fuck those characters are.
Yeah, and during like the third time, also, I will mention that in the beginning, in the minor scene, they go, "Oh, the methane sensor is off. Oh, it's like there's some tremors. Oh, let's out of the mine." And then one of the miners goes, "Oh, let's just drop everything and leave," and drops his axe that he was holding on a pipe and immediately like causes sparks to explode.
That was so funny, man. That whole cave in scene, I was like, what are they doing? I don't think miners would do that. They'd be running for the fucking hills.
Yeah, right. It's also we don't learn enough about them, like you were saying, and there's no like I didn't think they were trapped. I thought it was like, oh, an explosion, they all died, and then it cut back to them. I was like, oh, they're alive, like because like that
Yeah,
was
and
sparks right next to like it was like 5 people, and I remember like at least 4 of the people were like the main talkers in like the underground collapse
I think
miners.
it was three. I think it was even less. There was the guy who was like the supervisor, who apparently had no idea that these guys were getting extra money to shut off the sensors. He was the first guy to figure out that the sensors were off. There was Tantu's brother, who I forget his name, and the third
Cody.
guy that wanted to go Kevorkian and kill half of them.
Yeah.
I think that was it. I think that it was just those three talkers.
Yeah, and then there's some tidbits from the other like weak and wary miners, but they were
Oh
like,
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so yeah.
But yeah, like, until they flash back and forth like five separate times. It's probably not until the back half of the movie that we learn that the one guy is Tonto's brother.
Yes. Well, it's because they were like pressing her to be like, why are you even doing this? Like, you're so young. Why would you risk your life? And she's like, it's for my brother. And they're all like, yeah, that checks out.
Yeah, but when we're looking at the cave scene, it's not clear which one
Oh,
is her brother.
not at all.
Yeah.
It's confirmed when they like reconvene at the end. Is when I'm like, oh, that one.
Yeah, I know. I think she finally says his name. I think when they press her, because she makes reference to it when they break her out of jail or whatever, pay her bond to get her out of
Yeah.
jail. Uh, she makes a reference to, my brother's in that cave. I need to go get him, to Lawrence Fishburne, which is why he enlists her on this trip, I guess. And then I don't think she says his name until like way later.
Yes. Yeah, because they're calling in on the radio to confirm, oh, is this guy actually in the mine?
Yeah.
Or if like are they related? But then she says, "Oh, we have the same dad." I don't quite remember.
No, she says we don't have the same fathers because they
Okay,
have different last names apparently.
gotcha.
Um so yeah, but it just kind of left us to not really feel anything for the miners that were in the mine until we knew who they were.
Yeah, because we find out that like a good handful of them were getting paid to not care about the sensors. So I was like, oh, like why should we care about you? Like,
Yeah, you knew what you were doing was wrong. I guess like they were supposed to be like the desperate workers. You know what I mean? Like, oh,
sorry, I
they're
was coughing.
desperate enough. What?
I was coughing.
Oh, yeah, but I just feel like they were supposed to represent like the desperate workers, and this is like a not well run company.
No, it's such a well-run company. It's a whole compound. They have like a medical bay. They have a cafeteria. They have like the mine, all that. It looked like a not like a mining town, but like a like, oh, we go here and we spend whatever amount of months and then mine and then go home.
I mean, morally.
Well, yeah, because it was run because that's the way it was run. Yeah, like they were just like, oh yeah, keep mining no matter what happens.
Yeah, and then it ends up that, the twist in the movie, I guess we'll get into, is that the insurance guy that they send to ride with Liam Neeson and Tantu and Lawrence Fishburne is actually a hired assassin that's trying to take them out so that the media doesn't learn that these workers were getting paid extra.
Yep.
But
Which,
yeah.
like, out of nowhere twist. Like, we were talking. I was going into this movie being like, oh, the ice road's so dangerous. They're gonna have to overcome stuff. Maybe they're gonna have to like, form a bridge or like camp out and wait till it's nighttime, then cross over at like mile an hour and be like, oh, we can't break this ice. And I thought it was going to be like more man versus nature deal. And then when this happened, I was like, oh, all right, like let's see what happens with this whole thing.
I mean, like, so they start on their voyage and I think everything's going fine. Lawrence Fishburne's after the first day, right? I think they go through a full like night cycle. They see like the aurora borealis or whatever in the
Yeah.
sky.
The movie takes place. Sorry to cut you off. They have 30 hours to get to the miners, and that's kind of where the movie starts.
Yeah, because their oxygen's going to get cut off. They only have enough oxygen for 30 hours amongst themselves. So that's, and I guess that's where like, all right, we got to hurry now type of mentality comes from. I just feel like they did, because they were barely going to make it already. I feel like it was like having everything that they go through would have taken them way more time. Like they would have definitely not made that window.
Well, no, because you got to think they were going really fast around like over the ice road pit where it was like they're climbing up mountains. They were like going crazy fast. Like they're going 60 on like ice roads.
Yeah, but even then, I remember them mapping it out in the beginning of the movie, and they were saying that we're going to have to still take these other shortcuts in order to even come close to making it on time. Like there was the risky bridge at the end where they were like, yeah, it holds like 100 less pounds than what our load is going to be. You know what I mean? So they were already going to take all these different shortcuts, and they're like, we might still not make it on time. So like the fact that, one of the like two of the trucks full loads fall into the ice water. They're fighting with Varney, who's the insurance guy from Katka, the drilling company. I'm trying to think what else. There's all the times that like their gas lines get cut and they have to refuel. There's all the times that they're doing all this other shit and like they still make it on time. Where they weren't supposed to, it was supposed to be barely on time already.
I will argue that at all times there is a truck just moving forward. It was Tantu's truck was like, even though they like sabotaged him, whatever, he was still going at like normal pace with Tantu's truck.
Oh, he was. No.
No.
So when Lawrence Fishburne, so what happens is that Lawrence Fishburne's truck like gives out on him, and as they go to, they're like, all right, we're gonna hook up all these trucks together, but they stop and it's the middle of the daytime, so the ice is melting, and then it starts cracking, and it ends up that Lawrence Fishburne's truck starts to fall into the ice, and he doesn't realize that a fucking staunch fucking wire that you would use on like a winch, where it's like a metal rope, is wrapped around his leg, and his leg just goes fucking sideways, and he starts getting sucked down into the ice, right?
Yeah.
After that scene, after they're like, she's looking up at Tantu and he's going, cut me loose, and Tantu finally decides to like cut him loose and he falls down with the truck, which you had some problems with, which we'll get to in a second.
Yep. I'm waiting on fucking.
But like the ice ends up like doing that whole wave thing where there was that truck weighed so much that it created like a wave underneath that like whole sheet of ice where that wave was constantly moving. When they start up again and start to race from that ice cracking, because they have to race the ice cracking, of course, when the trucks fall over to their sides, when right as like the cracking stops because it settled the ice somehow, which I guess we'll get into as well.
The weight was
Um,
displaced much better, is what they were
okay, but
saying. Instead of on like the whatever 8 wheels or 16 wheels, it was on a full flat sheet of metal. That's how the weight was displaced.
listen, I wasn't good at physics, but that seems sus to me.
All right.
Am I wrong on that?
No, you are. Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right.
Like if you go on like a thin sheet of ice with like circles for shoes and your weight is perfectly displaced, you can walk on anything, you know. But if you
Yeah, I guess so.
if you're walking on that road with stilts, you're gonna push through immediately.
Yeah, okay. I just was confused because they immediately winched the trucks back up right after that and continue on driving.
Yeah, that's what I have a problem with. Is
Okay.
to like get the trucks upright, they like pull them up and slam the tires back, and then everything's
Using
fine.
using the other truck
Yeah,
as the weight as the winch
the
point.
counterweight.
So
Yep.
um but like after those scenes where the two trucks fall over, that's gonna take like so much time for a fucking 18-wheeler fully loaded truck that's carrying like fucking two or three of those posts that are 340 pounds. Like they were probably carrying thousands of pounds worth of equipment, so they're not just gonna winch it up quick, like all be fine after that.
No, but I'm trying to remember. They did say, "Oh, this trip is gonna take 20 hours." It was like 22 hours, but we have 30 to get there. But we got to take all these shortcuts because it was. They were saying because what that bridge that they inevitably cross, they were like, "Oh, we can go around it, take the safer route," and it was like, "Oh, it's another 75 miles. That'll be 48 hours or something like that." Like, and they're like, "Oh, that's why we're doing this road." I don't think they were under the 30-hour
Okay.
mark.
Okay, they were cutting it, but the actual road was just way too over.
Yeah.
Okay. Um. All right. So going back to the Lawrence Fishburne scene where he dies, you
Yeah,
want to jump in
I'll
there?
I'll go ahead and write the scene. So he gets caught in the rope in very stereotypical fashion, and then like it's also in that scene it looks so fake. Like his leg was very clearly not caught in it. It looked like his leg was like out of it, out of the. He was wearing like rubber boot. It looks like his leg was out of it, and it was like warped to the side, and like it looks so bizarre. I had such problems with it, like watching that scene because I was like, why? Like you couldn't get like a prosthetic leg and just like show the leg and then have him get dragged out. It was like, what? Do you have to make it look this bad?
Yeah. You also brought up a great point that like after she cuts him loose, he would be freed from the winch rope.
Also, why did like they were watching him get pulled down? If they cut him earlier, the tension would have released and he could have slipped out.
Yes.
So it was because the whole thing, the whole scenario they were in was Morpheus's truck was sinking, like the back end was like getting like slowly sinking into the ice. So if they just like were like, oh, cut losses, like let's fucking, you know, get in one of our trucks and fucking bing bang boom, they could have just left it like and just like, oh well, whatever truck, like.
Yeah, and also I was confused because it was like, all right, they just lost like thousands of pounds of worth of material. Like, are they going to need that later?
No, because they had I can't remember what Liam Neeson. There we go. Said, but they all had like the equal amounts of parts and like tools in each truck. Do you know the term he used? Like it was like once or twice where he was like, it's this thing, and that's why we can keep going with one truck.
Um, no, I don't. But they each had enough material in order to build what they needed to build. So then why were all three of them going?
Because two of the trucks fucking died.
Yeah, but it was because like if they didn't have the three truck, because I feel like when Lawrence Fishburne's truck starts falling, like going down, like sure the ice was like low and everything, and he was looking at his speedometer and it was showing that like the ice was really really melting. Which if we would have known, like if it was told to us before they were on the ice road that the ice melts at a certain like temperature, like which is revealed to us later in the movie. It was like, yeah, if it goes under 25, the ice will melt. and it's like seen through like a flashback or something. And I'm like, yeah, if that was known to us before, then that scene would have held way more weight to us. But also, they fully back up and go back for him. And I feel like they were way too close because weren't they hundreds of yards away from each other when they were
Yeah.
driving?
Yes.
So I feel like having those three trucks there, just in
Made it
case,
worse.
well, just in case one breaks down, you have this master mechanic that you trust. It seems like a third driver is dumb.
So you're saying they should have gone with 2 trucks?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm trying to grasp at straws. Maybe the insurance thing wanted to send 3 drivers to show that the most effort was
Ah.
being made.
Ah.
Maybe that's what my rationale.
That's a really good rationale though.
Yeah, right? I'm getting
Because
good at this.
yeah. Because like, it's and the insurance guy ends up being the evil guy. So I guess they were trying to overcompensate and say like, look, we were trying to send 3 trucks and they all
Yeah.
mysteriously crashed.
And all of them couldn't do it. It was an impossible mission.
I also believe that if this was a true story, the media would have been all over it.
Okay, ready? You want your mind to be blown, Andy? The reason this could not have been a real story is because the ice road they took in Canada is the safest road in North America.
Thank you for that.
Yep.
Oh,
I was like, is ice like I googled this ice road based on a real story. The first thing it sent me to was a fucking news article saying that the ice road they took in northern Canada is the safest road in North.
oh, that's so fucking funny. Even in April, even when it's like supposed to be off times or it's closed or
All
whatever.
year round, the safest road in North America.
That's wonderful. Because it's also set up in the beginning that like, oh yeah, all of my drivers are gone. We're not gonna like Lawrence Fishburne's on the phone and he says, all my drivers are gone. It's the summer months. It's starting to get to the summer months. It's April. We're supposed to shut these roads down in March, which starts of why like those roads are so dangerous. Oh man, that's so funny.
Well, I have it up right now. So, the road traverses 64 frozen lakes, and it's only open when they could measure a depth of at least 29 inches of ice.
Okay. So I mean all the roads were closed.
Yes, in real time, yes, in April they would have probably been closed.
Yeah, and that was the point is that they were going on this dumb rescue mission to try and get that material up there. Which I mean, off recording, we were like, I was like, can't they just fucking get some helicopters up there to like drop it?
But yeah,
Because there's got to be like a commercial charter that's ready to go.
the way the movie was explained that there wasn't an airfield to land because they would have landed on like snow and that would have fucked up probably the carrier.
I mean,
And then
considering how many times that ship blows up in this movie underneath the trailers and all that shit stayed intact, it could probably drop from a few thousand feet in the air.
Well, I'm doing mental gymnastics right now. I was thinking like, oh, there's no airfield for it to land, which would have fucking like blown up the thing. And then even if they managed to fucking crash land, there's no airstrip to make it leave.
I'm just saying do a flyover and like get close to the ground. If you're not using a plane, then use a helicopter. If you're like hover as low as you can go, drop the materials down, and then they could start using the materials. That was my suggestion.
Yeah, but no, because wasn't there a blizzard as well that they were trying to outrun in the beginning?
Which also comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Because like Varney was like, why don't we go back? Because like when the first truck breaks down, he's like, we should turn around. And I think Lawrence Fishburne and Tantu, which by the way, Tantu is like a young female who is from a Native American tribe who got arrested early in the movie for protesting.
Just blanket statement protesting.
And she had a $50 bail.
Yeah.
Lawrence Fishburne asks his assistant. He's like, "Can I get $50?" He's like, "Yeah, sure. For what?" He's
also,
like, "Gotta go break out Tanto."
Also, why are they using American dollars in Canada?
Also, why are they listening to country music in Canada?
No, Andy, not country music. Look up let's fucking, we can pause,
Oh,
whatever. Every song is car related. Every single song. It was like, on the road
was it really?
again, like driving till midnight, can't stop driving, like.
Oh, I have it. I have it. Okay. So, out of the 12 songs, it's All I Do Is Drive, Rubber Meets the Road, 18 Wheels and a Dozen Roses, I've Been Everywhere, We Got Fight, I'm Moving On, 6 Days on the Road, Don't Come Looking, Hurricane, Heat Made of Steel, All Coming Down, Drive.
Yep. Like I said, like, I didn't even have to look it up. All I knew was like every song had driving in the fucking title.
I saw that and I was fucking died laughing. Oh man, that was so funny. Um, but yeah, but it's like a weird country music as well. Like, what?
To argue, it's country music, yeah, but it's all truck and car themed.
But it's all in the genre of country.
But I don't think that's what they were going for.
Sure, I just don't think that truckers that fucking go across Manitoba or listen to fucking country. Unless I'm wrong.
It could be wrong. It could be a
Manitoba
universal
truckers that are listening to this.
Yeah.
Truckers from up north.
Hope we reach you. Hope we're entertaining you, Manitoba truckers.
A lot of our viewership is actually on the West Coast, so it's actually possible.
Nice, interesting. Dude, I love that, because we talked about it after we watched the movie. Some tidbits. I'm so glad we're like fucking finding this shit out like real time.
What?
Like I didn't know the actual names of all the fucking soundtracks.
Oh. Yeah, no, it was listed on the wiki, and I was like, "There's a lot of fucking country music about cars going on in here." Yeah, that shit was wild. Yeah, but also Lawrence Fishburne like points back when Varney's like, "I want to go back," and there's just this monster storm coming, and then like Tantu says something like says something in like, you know, a native language,
yeah.
and she says, you know, the big one.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, it's like blah 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 something, the big one. I'm like, all right, like.
I hope that's when the song from the soundtrack Hurricane starts playing.
Guaranteed it is.
I mean, there's a little side thing I also want to get into, is that Gertie has like a pet rat.
Yeah, Squeaker.
Wait, Skeeter.
Skeeter? Oh, okay.
Skeeter the rat, yes. Who ends up also playing a huge role in this movie when Varney is about to kill Tantu or knock her out again and blame her for the crime or whatever, or run her truck off a ridge. The rat, he hears squeaking, completely stops what he's doing. He's like, "What's that?" And then looks in the bag and gets bit by the rat, and she fucking punches him in the face.
Yep.
Which was amazing. But I like certain points, like when these trailers turn over, I'm like, that rat's fucking dead.
Yeah. But also, like, a lot of stuff doesn't make sense. Like, when Liam Neeson saves his brother from the water, like, they just get in the truck in their, like, sopping wet, frozen clothes, and, like, they're dry, like, the next scene.
No. They were never wet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
I argue that they were never wet.
Yep.
I don't think on screen they dripped one drop of water.
Well, because you know why? Because they probably shot this in fucking Canada in the winter, and they're like, "No, you'll die."
Yes. So they cut a hole in some type of stage, and he just pulled him out of the bottom of the stage, and they CGI'd everything.
Yeah, I would argue that over, like, they had someone professionally dive into fucking ice water in
Cold
Canada.
water.
Yeah.
Which was such an amazing, like, to set up the back half of the movie, because so Varney turns evil. He starts like going like, "Oh, we should question Tantu. You know, she doesn't like, you know, she made all these jokes about Americans, that they took our land and stuff like that." And then she's like, "Didn't you get fired from didn't Lawrence Fishburne's character fire you earlier?" And she's like, "Yeah, there was nothing about it." You know, and she's like, "My brother's in that mine," but they still decide to like tie her up anyway.
Yep.
And then he goes bad, and he ends up knocking out Tantu and like stealing her truck. He locks Liam Neeson and Gertie into the back of their own truck and then sets dynamite on fire, which caused that scene in which they picked up the 340-foot post and metal pole and bashed out the heat.
Yeah, that, like it's AC or heat unit. Yeah. Do you remember how Tom Varney got them in the back of the truck? I don't. It's slipping my mind how he was like, oh yeah, both of you, like get the thing in the truck. Like what was he?
Um, they were checking after the trucks had come back upright.
Oh,
They
checking on
were
the gear.
checking on the trucks. Yeah, they were checking on all the gear.
Gotcha.
I just love that he lit dynamite and threw it underneath the truck. And then when after they get out of like that small little hole, like Liam Neeson runs to it and chucks it away.
Yeah,
and
like in like prone chucking position. That's how far the dynamite was thrown away.
And then all of a sudden we see like the blow up and Varney's over the horizon. Like he is driven over the horizon and he sees like
a mushroom cloud.
Bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was fantastic.
Which I again was like, oh, like there's gonna be some shit. They're gonna have to like drive through another ice cracking fiasco, tremor, or whatever. I'm just like, nope, it just blew up in the. I think like in the aerial shot, it was like what like a couple arms distances away from him was like the hole the dynamite blew up.
Yeah, it was not far away from him.
Not far.
I was like, I first said, is 3 sticks of dynamite gonna blow up an entire truck? is what I first thought, and then I was like, yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense. He kind of lowballed the dynamite, and then it exploded. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. I have so many notes in here that just say like Gertie isn't dead ?
Yeah.
Like Tantu isn't dead ?
Okay. I have other stuff to get in. Do you remember watching for the first time? Like we knew nothing about Tantu. Like all we know about her in the beginning at least was she was in jail and she got bailed out, and that's all we know about her. And then during like the packing scene, she puts in a gun, and I don't know if that was supposed to like hint at like, oh, she might be the bad guy, and that's where they like kind of turn on her, because that's how I felt. I was like, oh, why the fuck would she bring a gun? Like,
yeah, red herring, I guess.
Yeah, right. Because
and then she doesn't even use it.
No, no, she does. When
yeah. Okay.
She like wards off Tom Varney when she has the gun.
Yeah, that was really confusing. I was just so like. I guess they got to kill some bears. There's going to be some bears on the ice.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, didn't Liam Neeson have like a rifle?
I don't think so. I know they had bags. They had like duffel bags worth of shit.
Well, I think it was for the drive, like food and water and other stuff.
Oh, okay. I thought, no, I don't think I saw a rifle or anything. I don't think a pistol is going to ward off a bear either.
Bear, exactly, yeah.
Unless you're putting fucking slugs into that thing, which she wasn't.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to rationalize it right now, and like exactly, like she probably just didn't trust anyone, and that's why she was bringing it in the first place.
But then she warms up so fast to Liam Neeson and Gertie.
Yes.
Like she wasn't warm to Varney at all, and I guess that could be like, I don't know, a trucker sanctum. But we already know from established shots earlier in the movie that like these truckers are ruthless to Gertie, so they don't give a fuck about like other truckers.
Yeah.
So it's not like a brotherhood. Yeah. I have a quote in here that says, "Why is Renee threatening their lives?" That was down in the mine when the one miner goes bad, and he's like, we should start killing people off, like killing the weaker ones that are gonna die and have like fevers and are sick, because it's gonna create more air for us and we can survive longer. Wanted to know your take on that.
It's like such a conundrum, right? To be like, oh, like we could save another whatever, double our time and give us all, it's the whole fucking trolley problem where it's like I sacrifice one for many. Yeah. But honestly, at that point, why didn't fucking the guy was like, oh, let's put it to vote, and then like why didn't the other guy just be like, oh, let's vote to kill you, and we all get another 15 minutes of breathing, like. And just have it be turned on him for like a second, and then the guy was like, oh, okay, I get it. You know what I mean? Not to be like, oh, character development for the guy we see for fucking 15 seconds the whole movie, but...
Well, the resolution to them going to a vote is that Renee, who was the guy who's checking the methane levels, and is like, why isn't he the supervisor guy? He then pulls out a lighter and goes, I'll kill all of us.
Yeah. Instead of killing 3, I'm gonna kill everyone.
What did you also think about how they talked to, like, how they spoke back to the people up top through
Oh,
Morse code
through
on a
Morse
pipe?
code, yeah.
On a pipe,
Yeah.
just a random ass pipe.
Well, of course they had pipes down there.
Well, no, duh. But I'm saying is that, like, what are the odds that the one pipe that gets stuck with them goes all the way back up to the top, and that they can hear banging on it?
Where would the pipe go then, except for the surface? Because they need.
I don't think sound's gonna travel that far.
Yeah, I'm certain of that.
Okay, I'm being too nitpicky then.
Yeah. No, because
I just love that as Morse code.
I'm thinking like they have like fuel lines that go to the top, and I'm trying to think like because not water, right? They wouldn't. Oh, maybe for the heat to have like drills have
Yeah,
like
maybe for pressure
lined
too.
with water. Yeah, yeah. Like maybe an air compression thing or like a vacuum.
So yeah, I mean, I guess that justifies having a shitload of pipes to come down there. I
Oh,
just thought it was funny
electrical
that.
wires they put in the piping, and that's why they have
Oh,
lights and shit.
mm,
Yeah.
that's what. I just love that they were doing Morse code, and like at the top, like they were tapping Morse code and nobody was answering, and the general manager of the mining company comes up and it's just like, you think they're gonna answer? And he's like, one of them has to know Morse code. They probably learned it. They had to have been in like the Navy or the Army or the Boy Scouts, something.
Wait, I don't know what who was the one tapping, or like if they're like, oh yeah, and the fucking blah blah blah. That's where I learned this, because Morse code is not that hard. It's just like you got to know what taps mean what letters, and you just spell it out like that.
I think you're taking a big chance hoping that like a group of miners is just gonna know. Like someone's, you're just taking a chance that someone's gonna just know Morse code.
Well, like, if not even that, if they get tapping back, like I feel like everyone can Morse
Yes.
code SOS, right?
Yeah.
That's like a
I have no
mess.
idea. I have no idea how to Morse code SOS.
Really,
Yeah, I have
it's
no clue.
three short taps, three long taps, three short taps is SOS.
Oh.
That it's just super simple, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I was in that cave, I probably would have been like, hey, listen, my lungs don't work. So, I mean, if you guys want to off me and get 50 more minutes of air, go for it.
Yeah, like towards the end, it looked they were all. Also, what was not portrayed well in those scenarios when the well, what do we exhale? CO2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get like super fucking loopy,
Yeah.
and like like it was just, they're kind of like woozy and like laying down like all of them at the end.
Yeah. I love that they just walk out of the mine fine.
Yeah,
Like,
oh my god, yeah, that's
because like, there was some people that were like, hurt in the blast, and they had after effects. They're running low on oxygen, so some of the people who aren't as like, physically strong, or they were hurt during the blast, were like, laying around. But then by the end, all of them are just fucking passing out, like barely breathing,
and then they just walk out. Not even like
and they walk out.
like the gas mask is on them and they're like leaning on someone being like dragged out. Like they were like smiles on their faces, like oh hi everyone, like, and there's like a round
Yeah,
of applause.
that was hysterical.
Yeah, I
um So Varney takes off with the truck. He gets into a fight with Tantu. She ends up semi fighting him off, and then he's just kind of like playing the waiting game. I thought that was pretty cool when they're like fighting on top of that mountain, and she's like shooting at him, and she's like, "Come on, like we gonna fight or what?" And he's just like, "I have no need to like kill you. I just am trying to make sure those guys die in the mine."
yep.
And then Liam Neeson and Gertie come up to ruin his plans. But I thought that was a pretty cool scene. He almost dies by Liam Neeson and Gertie fucking slamming into his truck and sending him like twirling down the hill 12 times to like the lower platform.
Yeah, it's a sizable hill, and he's just in like a Ford F-150, like rolling down it. There's no way he survives that, or not even survives it. Gets up and just like walks away from that.
Yeah. He starts going back up the hill to get to the other cab.
Yeah.
So, no. Is that when he drives up the hill to create the avalanche?
Yeah, he grabs the box of fucking more dynamite from the random truck, gets a snowmobile, and just goes up. Also, I don't remember. Do they kill the other goons? Or oh no, no,
He runs one over.
runs one over. Yeah, that's a fact. That guy's dead. That's an 18-wheeler running you over. I don't think they kill the other ones.
I don't know, because there was three lines that I had in notes where when the one guy gets run over and I'm like, Liam Neeson just killed someone. And then the next line was when what do you call it? Gertie's like choking one out in that like really slow choke out scene.
That was like a 20-second, 30-second choke out scene. I was like, oh.
He just gets him into a fucking, what's that hold called? Sleeper hold?
Yeah, like
just gets him
full on sleeper
hold. And he just fucking chokes him out and drops his lifeless body to the ground. And I was like, Gertie just killed somebody. And then I think there's like a third line. I think Liam Neeson kills someone after that again. So I was like, God damn, these fuckers are killing people left and right.
Yeah, there is some continuity errors in that scene, because like they run the guy over and then they throw a guy out as they're driving, and then like in the scene where he picks up a snowmobile, they're like lying next to each other, and it's like, well, why? Like,
yeah, I just love my notes, my note progression of just like Liam Neeson kills somebody, Gertie kills somebody, the guy from the insurance company survives the truck rolling over, then he causes an avalanche. Yep.
That's also in that scene I have written down. That's the third time they're trying to outrun something in this movie.
Yeah, and not non-man-made.
Yeah.
Like all the dangers, like going into this thinking that there was going to be all these natural disasters that they would have to like overcome. All of them are just man-made by this guy Varney.
Yep. Sabotage.
Yeah. But like, what was the point of him trying to kill them? Can we go into that?
Yeah, I think the whole thing is they're trying to cover up their like malpractice of having the miners just keep digging to get more material out of the ground.
Okay, but why are you going to hire 3 people? Or I'm sorry, why are you going to hire, what is it, 4 people in order to kill them?
Yeah, right. Like I feel like the cost effectiveness would have been like have more mine safety and like not pay off, and like whatever, you get like that much less product is like more money overall than like paying off people, paying like a hitman and paying like goons sounds like more money than like, oh yeah, we buy in like whatever, like this % less of things.
Yeah, I also like I'm saying that the media would have been all over that. It doesn't matter that it's Canada. Like US media would have probably gone up and fucking covered that shit. And would have covered the rescue mission. I'm like, there's no way that they're like tracking how far, like, you know, they would have like a skycopter fucking following how far these people were away from getting like the materials. Like there would be so much press up at the fucking mine, you know? Like all that stuff would be so well like documented and everything that they were just kind of like, yeah, well, you get rid of the drivers and then we'll just tell the press like whatever, you know, it's these guys choose to do this line of work and there's a lot of hazards in it, and then they'll just go away.
Because I mean, they wouldn't have like analyze, or I'm trying to think of the right word. They wouldn't have found the fucking revenants of like the trucks till like way later, till the ice fully melted and the road was, you know, not like obviously not like the ice road that they were on, but like the other roads were open. Like it would have been a while for like the investigation to actually happen, and by then the media coverage would have went down.
I mean, I don't know about that. They could have been like, why the fuck is there gunpowder? You know, why the fuck is there gunpowder? Because that's what make dynamite go off, right? It's gunpowder.
Yeah.
Yes. No.
But
they'd be like, why is there gunpowder on this ice? You know, there's gunpowder residue.
But that's what I'm saying. Like they wouldn't have. No one else would have gone on that ice road to see it, and it would have melted.
By the way, how does that dynamite not blow up the ice?
It did. Remember they were outrunning it?
No.
Remember it? Like it caused another tremor to happen, and they were outrunning the tremor.
Were they really?
Yeah.
I thought that the ice hole that they end up falling into was them trying to get the truck out.
No, remember? Because trying to think. Remember, like, because there was like the wave of ice happening, and then like the truck Tom Varney was in, fucking went into it. I'm trying to remember the scene correctly.
Are you trying to remember the one where Varney dies in? He dies. Spoiler alert. When they get onto the second ice road after the Liam Neeson fight.
Hold on, I have to
Whoa,
fucking
whoa, whoa.
rewatch this.
Whoa, 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 whoa. So I was pretty mad that the first like 30, there was only like 30 minutes of them actually being on an ice road in this movie. But then when he turns onto the second ice road,
Yes,
I was fucking
second ice.
hysterical.
Yes.
Yeah, he dies on the second ice road.
Yes. Okay. See, I just need to get reminded visually.
Yeah. I mean, once we get into this movie with all the craziness happening, it's easy to miss shit. Like,
Yeah.
I was pausing and writing shit down constantly. It took me probably about 3 hours to watch this movie.
Yeah, no, and the thing was though, because I was watching this with my girlfriend, and like I paused points, and we were just laughing at stuff because like it was so like just funny at times, just plain simple funny at times.
Let's get into so after there's the standoff with Varney, he goes up and he causes an avalanche, and a tree falls in. They set up Tantu's truck, and then they take the more comfy truck or whatever in just its cab to continue trying to deliver these materials. And the tree comes in through the window of Tantu, and it just fucking like stabs her in the chest.
Yeah, like it has to, like, it's deep enough to like puncture a lung. Like it was for sure not like fatal, but like she would have had a collapse lung, and like the way they like quote unquote like fix her is just put her up in the shittiest sling I've ever fucking seen in a movie.
In a sling for her arm.
For a punctured lung, like.
So, but I was so confused with that because then after they then switched the cab.
Yes.
Why did they do that?
Yeah, just for the fucking villain guy to ride the other truck.
Yeah, I was so confused.
Yeah, so was I. I don't know why.
And then they also wasted so much time trying to like put the gas line back on that black cab when they end up like after the avalanche, just changing out the cab anyway. Because I was like, why wouldn't you just change out the cabs? Like, is the red one not good or whatever? And I was like, oh, they're just driving the red one. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Because again, it's not like, oh, they couldn't have fit her or whatever. Because they have like the sleeper in the back and like the whole bed area.
Yeah.
Also, I'm sorry. We glossed over this before. Do you remember when the goons, let's call them, go up to Liam Neeson's truck with guns, and my favorite quote in the whole fucking movie is just like, well, they haven't fired yet.
And they're just holding guns up to the window, like knocking on it, going, pull over. And like him and Gertie are just fucking unfazed by having guns pointed in their
they're
face.
just like, oh, well, this is happening.
Well, but like, you know, their background is they're truckers.
Oh no, his brother Gurney was in the Iraq War.
Okay. But what about Liam Neeson? Why is he so calm?
The reason I'm bringing this up, so oh no, it's actually after the fact, was fucking Liam Neeson was shooting the other truck from there, so there would have been gunpowder regardless.
Yeah, which is what Varney was trying to avoid at all costs.
Gotcha. Okay. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, in the end, they could have just shot them because they were using guns anyway.
Yeah, and they break the windows. Like, you know, they smash out the windows, which, I mean, I guess, like, you know, a 18-wheeler falling down a fucking huge hill, I guess, would break the windows.
Would have had exactly. But did you also notice that Gurney fixed the window, quote unquote, fixed it with cardboard?
Yeah.
And that was just left out.
And there was a scene before that where Varney was driving, and when he gets into the cab, there's like a huge hole where the tree went through in the windshield, and he just fucking duct tapes the shit out of it.
Yeah, he has time to duct tape it and also catch up to them.
Yeah, there was so much ketchup in this movie. The fact that not the condiment. The fact that like the fact that when they were on the second ice road, that just the cab alone like catches up to Tantu's truck. Like the fact that Varney catches up, like there was just so many like where does the time go? Like how slow are these trucks really going up hills? Like is the cab going to be like 3 times faster to take?
Exactly. Yeah, I was like, oh, you can kind of argue, oh, like he would be able to catch up if like they left it, a minute interval. Like, oh yeah, he would catch up. Yeah, he has left weight to fucking whatever. But yeah, like you said, like 3 times, like they like beat him off, like whatever. He fell down a hill and he like crawl back up and get in the car and go. Like that was like a good 15 minutes, and he was outrunning them on the second ice road.
And that's why I was saying, like, there's no way that they fucking made this 30-hour interval. Like, it's a good thing that they had something like 4 to 8 hours extra time.
Yeah.
They go through so much. Like, they an avalanche fell on them. Like just fucking crazy shit.
Also, can we go over how bad the avalanche looked? I thought it looked garbage.
Oh, yeah. It was awful. The special effects in this movie were not good.
No.
When Varney is in the cab, when like him and Liam Neeson have that fight scene on the ice, which is the next thing we need to get into, when they have that fight scene on the ice and he ends up like tricking him of like going into the cab as he runs it into the ice breaking on the other side of the second ice road, and the car just like fucking like cartoonishly like hits the ice and just goes down immediately. I was laughing hysterically. Did you want to talk about that fight scene between Varney and Liam Neeson on the second ice road?
Yeah. It was just like weird. Also, did you notice like during some of the pit maneuvers, it wasn't like canonically correct. Like it was like he pit maneuvered and then like veered off to the right, and it looked like he went straight into like the unplowed ice on the side or unplowed snow on the side, right? Yeah. And then he just like came up on the left side again and did it again. I was like, what? Because it looks like he like veers off heavily.
Yeah. There was 9 million fucking continuity errors in this movie. There were scenes where when they were radioing each other in the beginning of the movie when Lawrence Fishburne was still alive and Tantu was in her truck as well. Like where when they radioed each other, you could see through the windshield that the truck is like off to the right, like it's off of center. And then when they zoomed out to like the sky view, they were all in a straight line.
Yes.
That was
oh my god.
Pissing me off to no end.
Yes. And it wasn't like that big of a deal, but it was so noticeable and so in your face where you're like, oh my god, really? Like I don't know why they shot it like that.
I think that we're starting to become the thing that we hate, where we were saying like we're not going to pick up on like continuity errors or soundtrack or anything, and now we're picking up on continuity errors in soundtrack.
Well, all right. The soundtrack thing is hilarious. The fact that it's all fucking truck and car themed is so funny, and the fact that the continuities are so in your face that it like. Because, again, I should have prefaced this earlier. Like, I am nitpicking this movie because I thought, as a whole, like, this is a pretty good bad movie.
Oh, I thought this is going to contest as the best thing we've ever watched on this podcast.
But there is still stuff like I can't overlook.
I mean, with us not trying, we talked for an hour and whatever it's been, hour and 10 minutes about this movie. So,
yeah,
I mean. It gave us a lot of content in it. Yeah,
and we even got over the bridge scene that they crossed.
Oh my god, yeah. So now the last hurdle. It's literally the last hurdle before they get to after all this shit happens and they finally kill this enemy. What kills Gertie is a fucking bridge.
A gate, yes.
a gate to a bridge.
Also, did you notice this as well? They full cleared the bridge and then it fell.
Yes.
Like not even like, oh yeah, that's how like blah 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 was meant to be. Like, oh, it didn't like teeter or anything. But they full cleared it and then it was like, oh, time to snap. And it's like, why? Why would the tension be greater when the truck leaves the entirety of the bridge?
Yeah.
Why would that be? That's where it couldn't hold anymore. Hold nothing anymore?
As the suspension wires were snapping when it was on the middle of the bridge.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then after it, they like get out to go check it. Like, why the fuck did they get out of the truck on like an incline?
Exactly.
Because then the truck starts rolling backwards, and Gertie risks his life. Which I was like, oh, he's gonna get out of this one, right? Like he just fell into a fucking
Yeah.
freezing cold water, and he made it out alive through hypothermia. Then fucking choked out like thugs of Varney that were coming after him while he had hypothermia probably still on him, and then he's gonna get crushed by a truck between the truck and the gate.
Which is also like I think just having the gate being there as like a little backstop is all it needed because the truck was sliding back ever so slowly.
And he couldn't lock it. Like this dude's a master of fucking.
Well,
He's taking apart engines and putting them back together within like 30 fucking seconds, and he can't put a gate clasp on. Like
I think it was frozen.
ah,
But it's also again like why have the little like gate stopper? Like that wouldn't have done fucking anything. Or also why couldn't he have like ducked at the last second? Why did they have to kill him? What was the
why couldn't they just go? What happens after she crushes him and Tantu goes back there and she looks at him and she goes, oh, and like she gasps audibly, even though he looks exactly the same as when he was alive. It wasn't like his fucking like guts were popping out or anything. She goes traction pads and then goes and get. Why didn't they do that instead of trying to fucking close the gate?
exactly, yeah. Because they used the tracking pads to get across the bridge. Because they were slipping on the bridge.
Yeah, but they still had more because then she uses the traction pads to get off of Gertie when she was crushing him on the gate.
Yes.
So why wasn't that their first option of all right, you go sit in there, I'll go throw these traction pads underneath you?
I don't know. Because they had to kill him for some reason.
Yeah, I was very upset by that death.
It's also it reminds me. I didn't state this in the beginning. So the only reason they're doing this is because there's a $50,000 per person bounty or like reward
Yeah,
for
they were
doing
gonna
this
get
whole
paid.
thing, and the whole thing is Liam Neeson and his brother were trying to buy a truck for $20,000. So for me at least, it was so obvious that his brother was going to die. I thought Tantu was going to die as well, and then Liam Neeson was going to get the 20,000 to get the truck.
I was honestly hoping that Liam Neeson was the last one to come out of this. I'm like, you have to, right? And then the almost deaths were really pissing me off. Where there was like literally like 5 almost deaths between all of them. Where Tantu's in the fucking avalanche, Gertie falls in the water. You know, like I was like, oh, they're gonna get Lawrence Fishburne out of this, right? Like when that initially happened, when he goes into the water because he's the first one to like be in danger of anything, and then he dies. I was like, oh man, like you know. And then the other two get fucking 5 different lives before Gertie dies.
Also, Black Man Dead First.
Yeah, bad trope. 2021 movie.
2021 movie, dude. Like 2 hard R's and then the Black Man dying first. Oof, just oof.
The R word being like the use of mentally challenged.
Yes.
Using the derogatory term. To open the movie, the first line in the movie is that word.
Yep.
And Liam Neeson just walks up and goes, "I told him not to call you. Not. I told you not to call him that." And he just punches a guy in the face.
Yep. And like flat on his ass, like from stationary.
Maybe he killed that guy too.
Yeah. Maybe that's why he keeps getting fired. He just keeps murdering people.
All right. So then we get to right. We're done. We get through the final scene now, where they come up on the cave and they drop everything off.
Yes, and that's also a weird thing to alert everyone that the pipe is there. They turn on the alarm.
And like the what was it? Was it
the CEO finally came?
Okay, it was the CEO. I thought it wasn't it somebody from like the Canadian government too?
I don't remember that.
I'm pretty sure there was somebody from like the Canadian. It was like I can't remember if it was like agricultural defense or something like that. Maybe I'm wrong. There's somebody comes up to him afterwards and they like the guy was in the meeting and they were talking about the explosion and that the people were trapped, and I'm pretty sure there was a dude from the Canadian government there.
I think you're right, actually. I remember there being 4 people.
And then like at the end he walks up to Liam Neeson and was like, "You did a great thing," you know.
Yeah, the CEO, yeah. Which
I thought it was the defense guy.
Oh.
Like he walks up and says like your brother didn't die in vain type speech thing.
No, here. Let me pull it up again. I don't think because it's like a 30-second.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
it ain't long.
but also, I will go into like he has no idea who the fucking guy is calling the shots or whatever,
Yeah.
and he just punches him in the fucking face.
Yeah, that was weird too because like there's a point where the CEO like so the people come out of the mine and like the supervisor guy Renee who threatened to kill them all by lighting them on fire when they were in the mine. He walks up to the general manager and was like, "You paid them extra money," and then the CEO just looks at him and goes, "You paid him the extra money," and then Liam Neeson just walks up to the general manager who
And
was like trying
punches
to,
him.
yeah, and it's like what?
I know, but like, I guess Liam Neeson knew that he caused all of this. Yeah, so
I,
there's no random fourth person, Andy, that like
okay,
congratulates Liam Neeson.
okay. I thought there was the scene after where the woman hands him the brochure, like right before there was like a guy that talked to him and was like, and said something along the lines of, you didn't do this in vain. Your brother didn't die in vain, or something like that.
Oh, okay, so there was four in the meeting room. I have no idea who the other guy is next to the CEO.
Okay. I mean, insignificant. Like besides our
Yeah,
main characters, a lot of insignificant characters in this movie.
yeah. I wish they went more in depth. I wish I felt more for the miners.
Yeah,
Like I wish
a
there was
thousand percent.
more of like a whatever, not even like it was like snippets and like like a couple seconds here, just being like, oh, here's the situation. All right, back to Liam Neeson killing people. Like,
Well, I also struggle with why the general manager of the mining company was doing bad things. Like he was just evil because he was evil. Like
but that yeah, it wasn't like the stereotypical like evil CEO like trying to like be greedy more money. But it was just like the fucking manager just being like, oh yeah, let's just fuck over people because we can.
and then the CEO was like, "You did this?" Like
Yeah,
even the
exactly.
CEO didn't even know what was going on. I was like, "So this doesn't run all the way up to the top?"
Yeah.
And then of course there's still no media there when all the people come out of the mine.
Well, what fucking media person is just like, oh yeah,
Oh,
let's get on a fucking helicopter? Like, what fucking.
they 1000% would.
Yeah?
It's a huge human interest story. Look at those people that were trapped in that cave in Thailand a couple years ago.
I was supposed to say remember the chili miners?
Peruvian.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, there's been a couple. Wasn't it Thailand? Yeah, I think it was Thailand. That was like the one before, but I think you're right. I
Yes,
think
which
there
I'm
was
thinking
one in
of.
South
Yeah.
America that was another like underwater cave or whatever the fuck it was. But yeah, like those are like top trending media stories from all around the world. Like there would be world press there.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, like they could have all been together with their four helicopters and gotten the pipe there.
Yeah, well, then that's where the media stops because they're trying to get the story. I mean, maybe not even they would have covered like the rescue, like them transporting the stuff, transporting it all the way, but there definitely would have been some media on site, like
Yeah.
reporting on, like there, even when there was nothing happening at the cave, like there would have been media there. And the fact that like, I mean, I guess it was a short enough. Their excuse is that it was a short enough time, but I'm pretty sure when they introduced people, there was people from the Canadian government, or they talked to the Canadian government when that explosion happens in the beginning of the movie.
Yes, I think you're right.
So there would be media there.
Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and talk about the fucking dog shit ending.
Yeah, that ending was awful.
We
So
get
they
3 months
just,
later.
well, oh, okay. I thought you were going to talk about how they actually get him out of the cave, where
Oh
like
yeah,
they deliver all those fucking material, and then we just see a bunch of people like wrenching.
building it. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
and
that
it's like,
that
all
was
right, we got him
bizarre.
out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there wasn't like I was saying earlier. I was like, oh, maybe like it's a compression chamber or some shit, and or like a fucking something. I don't know what they did because
I,
I get like, oh, they can't drill them out because like a spark kills all of them, and the guy driving the fucking truck. Like I get that.
they exploded the rocks. I thought they put another explosion down there. I don't know. I assumed that those things were going. There was no way they were going to bring a machine that was going to pick the rocks out one by one. I think they said. I'm pretty sure they kept alluding to we got to blast them out of there
Yeah, but why wouldn't they, like, during this 30 hours, start digging the rocks out one by one?
because they got to. There's somebody needs to be up there talking to them in Morse code.
Oh yeah, you're right. They only have two people that weren't fucking trapped, that weren't the CEO and the CEO assistant, or the manager.
Wellhead. So the thing that they were trying to deliver, which was used a lot in the movie, probably the second most said word besides ice road, was wellhead, which is a component at the surface of an oil or gas well that provides structural and pressure containing interface for drilling and production equipment. This is all in Wikipedia, by the way. The primary purpose of a wellhead is to provide the suspension point and pressure seals for the casting strings that run from the bottom of the hole. This is going to lead me into Googling more stuff, and I don't feel like doing it. But I guess you're right. I guess it was just supposed to relieve the pressure, and then it would relieve the gas. Am I drawing picking at straws now, showing my ignorance?
Well, that makes no sense, because why take away air when they need air?
Yeah, this it wasn't well explained to us.
But like, even if they had a machine that like was like, oh yes, we took out every single bit of the methane, then they just blow up the rocks like after the fact, after they have no air.
Yeah, I don't have an answer. I don't know how that shit works.
But again, the reason we're trying to fucking speculate is because they just deliver it. They're like, oh, like, let's fucking socket this fucking thing in, and then they just start walking out of the mine. Like,
yeah,
and,
and you hear wellhead the entire movie. We got to deliver these wellheads. We got wellheads back there. So if some of that was explained to us more, which, it could have been a scene where he's explaining it to an assistant of what the fuck are we going to do, boss? And he's just like, all right, we get the wellheads and blah, blah, blah. But then also, like, there's the fact that the general manager is totally against this entire plan. So we're not going to get it from him as a high ranking officer. So, I mean, it's just a problematic plot and no way of giving us exposition into how things work. Yeah, so then it comes out, Tantu is reunited with her brother, and then he like walks up and shakes Liam Neeson's hand as if he knows him when he doesn't. And and also, like, when he got caved in, his sister was in jail.
Yes, he had no idea. He just walks out and like doesn't say like, "Oh my God, how are you here? Are you the one to deliver it?" There's no like, oh, they just like go up and hug and be like, "Oh, nice seeing you here." Like, this rural fucking town in Canada. I was about to say Alaska.
I mean, it could have been, I think it was actually filmed in Canada during the winter. Yeah, just fucking strange. And he's like, "Oh yeah, you saved me, thank you."
Yeah. And then shakes Liam Neeson's hand. Yep.
He was a pretty good actor in the cave, to be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah.
He was not a good actor when he was out of the cave.
No.
And then it cuts to the next scene, which is like you said, it literally says like the fucking 3 months later on the screen. And it cuts to Liam Neeson pulling up in a bright yellow truck, and he goes and he stops and sees Tantu, and he's just kind of like, well, I'm going on my runs, and they're just fucking like chit chatting. It wasn't even like deep conversation.
Yeah, and she's running the shop that Lawrence Fishbone is like had, which is like, how legally did that happen? Like, she wasn't an employee. Like, did she use the money to buy the shop? Like, it was not explained.
I thought it said that it was Liam Neeson's truck build.
No, I'm saying the workshop or whatever, like the truck hub.
Yeah.
That Tantu was like working in or running.
Goldenrod's garage. Okay, got you. I thought it was. I read that wrong. I thought it was Liam Neeson's thing. I was like, wait, why is he pulling up like this is a whole new fucking world? Because I thought he owned this place.
No, and it's also how did he buy the truck if he only got 100,000 of like the reward money?
I think they split it. Him and Tantu split it.
Yeah, split the 20,000. The truck was 20,000 or 200,000.
It was 200,000.
Yeah.
Oh, So they wouldn't even had enough money if they made the fucking drive for that.
No, that's what I was saying in the beginning, where like it was the truck is 200,000, and like in total they were like splitting 200,000. That's why I thought everyone was gonna die and Liam Neeson was gonna have the money for it. But
Oh,
Tantu
that makes
lived.
so much sense. Yeah, that makes so much sense. That's why he gets all that money.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying, did Tantu not take the money? But then how does she have the money to buy Goldenrod's shop?
That's a really good point. No idea.
Like this ending is so dog shit, and then they're like you said, they're chit chatting. Liam Neeson goes, "I'm hauling sports gear now,"
And she's like, "Ah, yeah, living the life, right?" He's like, "Yeah."
and then it pulls away with his Liam Neeson's brother just goes, "Oh, what are we gonna name the truck?" Like halfway through the movie, he goes, "Truck, truck, truck," and that's what the fucking license plate says.
Yeah. Yeah, and he said when we get our truck, fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just the fact that he fucking helps out so much in this movie to give finally a decent representation of a mentally handicapped person in a movie where they weren't the star, like they were part of a crew trying to achieve something, and they like have really good, they have really good contributions to people trying to accomplish a goal, but then every time he speaks it's just like truck truck truck. How fucking that must piss people off.
Yeah.
And that was the movie. Yeah, that was the end.
I think because in my mind, like I enjoyed watching it. It was good. I had some like nice laughs, not even like cheap laughs, some like nice like, oh, they made like a truck joke like in a truck movie, haha. Like
Yeah, I think there was just so much like balls to the wall fucking what the fuck was that moments,
yeah,
it does, it makes it good, it
yeah.
good.
Again, like I was telling Andy before recording, like I'm gonna be super nitpicky because I can't like think of like, oh, like that was super wrong and that was super wrong, and then we like end the podcast. Like we had to like dive deep and like pick out scenes to be like, oh, here's wrong with that. That's what's wrong with that. Like overall, the overarching thing is like I genuinely like would watch this movie again. There's a good movie.
Yeah, I think that if I'm really bored, I would.
Yeah,
It just
I wouldn't
doesn't
do it
make enough.
today.
It wouldn't. It just doesn't make enough sense to me. Like of why Varney would turn on everybody. Like why they would hire a hitman to go kill people for the company and like fucking destroy trucks. Like it just seems too far fetched of an idea. Like you said, the ice road is a fucking safe road to drive on.
Yeah.
you know and I guess that's why they needed somebody throwing dynamite underneath their tires at every which way.
No, I feel like honestly though I did like the twist where I was like, oh, maybe Tantu's like the fucking whatever,
I think it
co-conspirator,
would have worked out better if it was her.
right? And like she was sabotaging people to get the money. That would have been a better thing than like, oh, they spent money on a hitman.
Well, hang on. Let me fix this movie real quick, which is what I wanted. I wanted to make a new segment called "Let's Fix This Movie." I think it would have been so much better if Tantu didn't know Varney and Varney was lying completely. I mean, he was lying a little bit about who he was, but if he was lying completely and he was actually another protester.
Oh.
So then she has to either go against this guy who stands up for the same things that she stands for, or she gets rid of him and completes this job.
Interesting. Yeah, I like that.
So boom, and that's my contribution to how do you fix this movie.
Yeah, my how do you fix this movie would have been having no like hitman plot twist, and then they have to like overcome like their greed to all get together and overcome problems and like the nature, or like they had to like, oh, the fucking bridge fell and they have to like maneuver or like wrench to a tree and like pull the other truck up and be like, oh, we can just cut them and get more money and like have like the moral dilemma.
Yeah,
that would have been something else. Again, a whole totally different movie, but that would have been nice to watch. I would have watched that. But again,
It would have made sense.
would have
Like,
made sense, but there also wouldn't have been like action scenes and like Liam Neeson running someone over, and so we missed out on some, but
guns being pointed in the face and just going, he won't shoot us.
they probably won't shoot, right?
Yeah, no, I like that. I like your idea too, because they didn't really have a motive. Like, they were like, oh, we got to go save these campers, and they were getting a bunch of money. I mean, these people in the cave, and they're gonna get a bunch of money, but like, they all just kind of became friends, except for Varney, like, immediately. And they besides Tantu and Lawrence Fishburne's character, like, they had never met before.
No. Oh, yes, actually, yeah.
Liam Neeson has not met Tantu.
No, I
And
know not Tantu, but maybe Fishburne they met, but I remember the
no,
scene
I don't
where
think so either. Because
yeah,
when he's interviewing, by the way, like, we should go back to that scene
yeah,
just as like a small little quip. When he's interviewing for the job, he's like, so you've been cut from 11 jobs over the past 5 years. Like, what's the deal? So I don't think he met him before.
no,
I think he was just
exactly,
putting it
yeah.
out to different, like, ice road drivers.
But in that scene, also the stereotypical, like, he interviews him first and then tells everyone else to go home.
Yeah, which was weird because, like, people were coming into the office when he initially put out the flyer or whatever. It was like he got it as a text on his phone, which, by the way, I don't know how you don't call the police either when you have phones. But apparently they didn't get it. Like, when Tantu's radioing for 911 after they pass the first ice road,
Yeah.
before the avalanche happens, like, she only gets Liam Neeson.
Yeah, because they didn't go that far. They only traveled like 20 hours north or
And
south,
there's
or
gotta
whatever
be
direction.
settlements like,
Yeah.
around. Like, there's
Yeah.
no cops fucking patrolling around or something.
Yeah, and radio
But-
waves go far as fuck.
Yeah. But going back to that scene where in the beginning where he's like, he has a bunch of drivers who are like ready to drive. I thought it was gonna be like a fleet, like 5 or
Yeah.
6 trucks. He just took like Tantu and fucking Liam Neeson. Like, that's
Also,
it.
him, like, why go yourself when there was like
Yeah.
other candidates?
Yeah. Well, I mean, people were like rejecting him. They were going into his office, and then they're just like, well, I got a family. This is really dangerous. And he's like, yeah, I understand. And then they just walk out. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it wasn't like a mandatory thing, and like you didn't like have to be there. It was a choice. So why would you choose to go there and be like, actually, no? I want to tell you no to your face.
Yeah, that was just a fucking. There was some of these scenes that I was like, that is way over. That, like what I mean, just like, that's good bad movie content, like quality bad movie content. Right.
So Andy, you remember in Catch That Kid where it was verbatim for another movie?
Yeah.
This is an adapted movie from a movie called The Wages of Fear.
What?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I did kind of see that it was based off of like a book, but it's like a there was something with that. It was like there's something with that backstory that it's not shot for shot.
No. It's an adaptation of another movie.
Yeah. That was successful and actually was good. So, whereas I don't think Catch That Kid nor its whatever it was, Danish version was good at all. Adam, do you have a review before we get into our reviews?
Oh, actually, I don't.
It's
Hold on, give me 2 seconds.
a new movie. It might be a little hard.
It is. Yeah, it was very hard, and I didn't do that all the way. There's some good ones on Rotten Tomatoes, but yeah, I'm not gonna be able to find one.
Oh, we forgot to go into the whole the last thing before cutting away from the what do you call it scene, from the scene where at the cave, the woman comes out and goes, "We found this with your brother's things," and it was a brochure for the truck that Liam Neeson had ripped up at a certain point, at like the most stressful point of the journey. And I was just like, why would you hand him a brochure from your dead brother?
Yeah. I've gone through Rotten Tomatoes and Google, and it's a lot of just very personal, nothing very good.
That's fine.
Because there's like 800 reviews, 1-star reviews that I gotta fucking sift through, and not that I don't
That's
love
fine.
this podcast, but that's
No, it was too hard.
yeah.
You like to find the perfect one, and you're really good at doing that. So if the perfect one isn't there, I believe you.
Yeah. It's just a lot of like really quick, like train wreck movie, blah blah blah, like but a lot of people actually, 3 in a row where it's like ice road is the safest road in North America.
What does it say?
It's just like dog shit movie, unrealistic. Ice road is the safest road in North America.
I mean, the only thing I think that would have made this better is if they had to do it on like uh dog driven sleds.
Yeah.
Maybe that's another way they could have fixed this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So let's go into our reviews. Adam, what are you rating this movie?
Give me un momento. Pull up the list we have on paper. I want to say I'm giving this probably a 6.
Wowie.
Because I would watch this over Hubie Halloween, and I gave Hubie Halloween a 5.5.
I agree with you on that. I think it was more watchable, but I don't know. I think there was just so many flaws in this movie that I'm gonna have to give this one a 4.
So you would rather watch Hubie Halloween, Good Luck Chuck, and Career Opportunities?
I kind of put them all in the same. Put them all in the
Category,
same. Yeah, the same range. I mean, I'm kind of all over with these fucking
No, because
reviews.
that's what I'm saying. Like, if I'm going off that, I would watch this movie over Good Luck Chuck and Heartbeat, Career Opportunities in a Heartbeat, and like I said, it's a little closer to Hubie Halloween. That's why I'm giving it a 6.
I still feel like all those movies we pulled lines that we can remember. I cannot pull a line from this movie besides truck, truck, truck.
Well, there's some memorable points in this movie where it was pretty good. Like, it was just watchable. The action was pretty good. And like
Yeah,
I
no.
can recall and remember being like, oh haha, funny truck song whole movie. Like,
I mean, like, it wasn't like it was action off the get-go. It
yeah,
wasn't like, oh, we were sitting around bored. I think there was maybe 5 minutes in the beginning that I'm like, oh, okay, this is going to be the slow movie I thought it was. The introduction where they're going through like assistant producers were appearing on screen in the fucking intro to this movie. Like, it starts off like its start is so slow, and then it's like a snap of a finger after like 5 minutes, it's boom, you're into the movie. But
yeah,
you get no explanation that would set up the rest of the movie.
that's true. Yeah, like it's first the slow start it had and that random hospital scene, they could have explained a lot more or gone
Yeah.
into a bit more of context.
Yeah, but that all happens within like the first 5 minutes. You get past the first 5 minutes of this movie, and it's balls to the wall action.
Yeah.
So I respect it for that. I'm not gonna rank it as like the highest movie that we've watched so far.
So what are you ranking it? Well, did you already give a number?
I did not. I'm gonna give it a 4.
Fucking, your list of 4s is ever growing, Andy.
I know. I mean, it's just like, honestly, I should have given Career Opportunities a 4 as well. For being real.
5.8. Holy shit! Yeah, that's high.
Yeah, that should have been what you rated it a 4, and that's not just because you rated it. I think it's just like it wasn't good enough to get over like that 5 threshold for me. We just were at the beginning of us doing it, and
Yeah.
Ratings were arbitrary.
I'm gonna redact my 6 and give it a 5.8 just to fuck you.
You don't want this to be the highest rated movie on our podcast.
Exactly. Yeah, it's gonna equal Career Opportunities, which I'm kind of okay with.
The only other higher thing, if you gave it a 6, would be young Jake giving Catch That Kid a 7. Young Jake Prest.
Yeah.
All right. So do you have anything else?
Nope. You can go ahead and follow us though at Netflops Pod on Twitter. We will answer all your DMs, send us bad movies, comments, concerns.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, follow me on at Andy Doherty on all of our social medias. If you're listening to this on YouTube, don't subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel. Give us some comments. Give us some movies you want us to cover. That you saw that were just fucking batshit crazy. I also write articles for hockey, Dallas Stars, and New York Islanders. If that interests you at all, give me some clicks. Let's make some money, baby. Uh, yeah, I think the threshold on Spotify is I think like 10 minutes. So we will get like a view, quote unquote, a view if we get like a marketable view if you go over that 10-minute mark. So yeah, that's just kind of like the thing that we're trying to get. I think this movie was crazy enough, and our past couple movies have been crazy enough that for the first 10 minutes we've been doing a good job of that. But you just gotta, if you're listening to this on YouTube, go over to Spotify, give us the fucking 10 minutes, and then we could keep on growing and keep on doing shows.
I will say a note. I just looked on the YouTube because I see the thing, but also you have from 2 months ago a clip of you playing Cold War on
Yeah,
the YouTube channel.
I went off in that clip too, and my cousin just fucking talked all over it. He was like, "Oh, dude, the Giants looked fucking awful today." Like,
Oh my
just
god.
jumped into fucking, and I'm like, "Nick, I'm on a kill streak. Shut the fuck up."
Yeah, I think that about wraps it up for all of us. Thank you for listening and tuning in and staying to the end.
From all of us here at Netflops, thank you guys for listening so much, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Bye bye.